Hey there, Latin 368 Big C. Here we go. Disaster comes closer. The action picks up. Meanwhile, from Mount Vesuvius and many places, very wide flames and high fires were glowing, whose brilliance and brightnesses were accented by the shadows of the night. He kept on saying, as a remedy for their fear, that fires left through the terror of peasants and deserted villas were burning on the countryside. So he's basically trying to say, no, don't worry. The mountain's not catching fire. What it is people left their fires burning and then they panicked and left, and that's why their houses are burning down. You don't want that to happen, so we're not going to panic and leave. Then he, my uncle, lay down to rest, and rested, in fact, with a very real sleep, for the snoring could be heard, which in his case, which were rather loud and heavy because of the size of his body. His snores could be heard by those who were attending outside the door. This is an interesting fact, actually, about Pliny the Elder. He had bad breathing problems. He was rather corpulent. He probably had sleep apnea. He also probably had asthma. There's actually a corpse that was found recently, and it's entirely possible that it is actually Pliny the Elder. Just look it up. Type in Pliny the Elder's corpse found or something like that, and it's fun articles. All right, so... but the courtyard from which the living room had its entrance had now risen so much with ash, filled with ash and pumice stones, that if there were any longer delay in the bedroom, exit would actually not be possible. So, in other words, you have to get out now while it's still only halfway up, so you could still push the ash out of the way, instead of blocking the door entirely. After being woken up, he, my uncle, comes out and rejoins Pomponianus and the others who had stayed awake all night. So now it's the next morning. They consult together, deciding whether they should stay indoors or wander out in the open, for the house was shaking with frequent heavy tremors, as if it was being moved from its foundation, now here, now there, and it seemed to move away and then be brought back again. When Vesuvius erupted, there were several earthquakes preceding it and following it, okay? So being inside of a building during an earthquake is a bad idea. But at the same time, the sky is literally falling on you with rocks. So going outside is also a bad idea. So it's kind of a catch-22. Again, although under the open sky, the falling of light and porous pumice stones was feared, the falling of light being fire, okay, was feared, which a comparison of the dangers, which if you compare the dangers chosen, they chose to go outside, okay? And in his case, Pliny's, one reason overcame the other. In the case of others, one fear overcame the other. So he thought about it. He's like, okay, the odds of us dying in here are higher. If we're outside, we could get hit by a rogue thing, but we'll probably be okay. Other people are like, this is really scary and loud inside. I want to get outside. They placed pillows on their heads and tied them with pieces of cloth, which sounds ridiculous, totally makes sense. And this was protection against falling things. So that's 68C. I'm going to hit the button.